I believe that it's crucial that the evaluation precede the therapy, and that part of the process of supporting the patient is to find out what actually happened.
Do you ever believe that what they're telling you isn't the truth?
In terms of whether incest happened and the content of the truth of their experience, I never believe it's not the truth. Can memories be confused? Can you compress 4 incidents into one? Certainly. But what people really do is they fight against this truth. This is not a welcomed truth.
To what lengths do you go to corroborate?
I'm not a detective. I'm a psychotherapist. It would be inappropriate for me to act like a detective. I'm there to help my client heal.
Jan Downing of Newbury, Massachusetts, says her therapist did anything but heal, that she went from an active mother of 3 to a wreck contemplating suicide. In 1985, she says she took her son to a psychologist because she didn't know how to handle his temper tantrums. But then she found she was the patient.
Well, the therapist asked me if I had any memories of sexual abuse, just point out, asked me. And I said no. And he said he wanted me to think about it.
You mean this was offered by the therapist?
Oh, it was not my idea. This was not my agenda. I mean, I didn't seek therapy for that reason.
She says she was encouraged to read books on incest and join incest survivor groups, that her therapist began using a technique that she says put her into a trance-like state. It is called guided imagery. It led her back to a childhood she now says never existed.
The therapist would use words like, well, were you being touched then? And I think the combination of anxiety, fear, the general feeling of being hypnotized and in a trance, the feeling that I wanted to please the therapist, then I was able to come up and say, well, I remember when my uncle fondled me and...
You started supplying details.
Yes, very specific details.
Had that uncle fondled you?
Absolutely not.
After 8 years of therapy, in and out of hospitals, Downing was convinced not only her uncle, but her mother had molested her. She was encouraged to confront her family, and she did.
I tried to rip this family apart. I'd go to my brothers and tell them, you were probably abused too. When are you going to begin to look at your issues? You're just in denial. What's the matter with you? I thought I had all the answers.
It was the death of her mother that jolted her, made her question the validity of those memories of abuse.
She went to her grave believing that I hated her, that I was blaming her for these things, that what she did was wrong.
A few weeks ago, she filed suit against her therapist for fraud and malpractice. She alleges he induced the false memory of incest.
Hello?
Jan Downing seems to be on the road to recovery. She's now in a new therapy, trying to recover from her old therapy.
Okay.
The Barr family says they tried to reconcile, to come to terms with Roseanne.
My last conversation with her was about 2 years ago, and I tried to do some reality checking with her. And she said to me, my mission in life is to get Mom and Dad. And if you get in my way, I will get you too.
Sometimes I feel that Roseanne is a big bully, and she stands behind a wall, like in a schoolyard, and throws rocks. But the wall that she stands behind is made up of her attorneys, money, power, and I don't know if she will ever have the courage to walk out from behind the wall and come into a dialogue like this.
Do we want her back? Certainly we want her back.
I love my grandchildren who've been taken from me. I love the Roseanne I used to know.